Hangin with Deez. Here we go. YouTube episode number 2. I, of course, am your host, Deez, and with me, as always, Bubba J over there. And it's been, a little over a week? Something like that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Somewhere in there. So we got a lot to talk about. We've done, I did some homework. I watched the Gators doc. We've missed, or not really missed, but we've had 2 preseason games in between our last appearance here. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We got some predictions for you, general news and notes. And first thing, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. Trey Lance is a Dallas Cowboy. What are your thoughts? A fucking fourth.
Yeah, a 4th-round pick. Well, if you look at it this way, we got Trey Lance and I'm drawing a blank here. Number 11. What's his face?
Cooper.
No, gosh dang it.
Or
our defensive guy, Parsons. Jeez.
Oh, Micah Parsons. Yeah.
In the same round, in the same draft. So,
yeah.
I mean, for a 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Trey Lance is a bust, in my opinion.
So far.
Is it because of where he was? Coaching? Opportunity? I don't know. I think COVID kind of messed with his college seasons. You know, he had one season, then COVID shut it down, then he declared. Yeah. He's only got like 492 passes in his career.
Yeah. College and pro combined. Yeah. I was thinking it was in the 420s, but
you mentioned I think it's 400 something.
It's low. It's very,
not enough.
Very low.
It's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem I would have with it if I were a fan or if my team did that, a 4 is pretty high for somebody that is very, very questionable, because you can find some really good picks in the 4th round.
Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick.
Yeah. Wouldn't Tony Romo?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was a 4th-round pick.
No, Aaron Rodgers.
No, Brett Favre. One of those quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Brett Favre was a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers sat there and watched himself free fall because they thought he was going to be possibly the first overall pick, but I think it was Alex Smith, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that was a bad year for quarterbacks as far as the draft, because not too many teams needed it. And he just, it was one of those cringeworthy moments, almost like, just like this year, the kid that went to Tennessee. What the hell's his name? The Titans drafted him. They thought he could potentially be the top quarterback taken, and he didn't even get taken until the second day. The kid from Kentucky. It's killing me not thinking who that is, but it was the same kind of thing watching Rodgers. But yeah, back to Trey Lance. And what kind of message does that send to Dak Prescott, who is, basically in contract talks and watching all these quarterbacks get paid, and now all of a sudden Jerry's like, well, we're going to bring this guy in. And do you think Jerry is bringing that in as a shot across the bow at Dak, like maybe short leashing him? Or I don't know that Trey is going to be ready this year, but
no, it's definitely a Cowboy move for sure. Yeah. Something that doesn't make sense to anybody else but the Cowboys for some reason. Yeah. They had Will Greer, they have Cooper Rush, they have Dak Prescott, and now they have Trey Lance, who's leaving the Niners because he doesn't want to be a 3rd or 4th string quarterback.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be, at best, a third string quarterback immediately. Because you're not going to put Trey Lance, number 2 behind Dak, above a Cooper Rush who just went 5-1 in starts when Dak was down.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
To me, Greer's gone. They
Greer
might
is
try and
done.
tuck him away on the practice squad, but
Yeah,
there's you
they
keep
told Greer earlier in the week that they were going to release him because they were talking about getting Trey Lance. So they knew they were going to pick him up. So they let Greer know that he's being released, and that they told him you're slated to start on Saturday for our last preseason game, and we're going to give you the whole game. He played every snap. He did phenomenal. He went like 29 for 35, 200 something yards, 4 touchdowns. The dude was crazy. He went nuts. So
basically an audition.
yeah. So go get paid is what they said. So
Right.
Trey Lance is 3 of 3 on a depth chart where he was 3 of 4 in the night. So I don't know. He said he's happy with the move. There's a quote out there on ESPN that says he was pretty happy with it. But we'll see. I definitely think it's a slap in the face to Dak a little bit to wake him up. Say, hey, guy, we have another young guy. He can run the football. He can throw the football when he's good. And if he can develop with Dak and the quarterback's coach, and if it's hard telling.
Yeah, I mean, this is a move that down the road we could be looking at it like an all-timer.
Right. Will Levis is his name.
That's the guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be that 2 or 3 years down the road, we'd think, well, they pissed away a 4th-round pick for a guy that never saw the field, or when he did, he was terrible.
Right.
We kind of touched on this last week. This is a guy, like you said, he only really played 1 full season of college, and he didn't, it's not like he played big-time college ball. He played for North Dakota against teams like Illinois State and South Dakota, which for their division division, it's good competition. But
and they're national champions. I mean, he won. They were the team to beat.
Yeah.
So,
but to make the leap where you only have 1 season of that ball, and then now you're in the NFL,
right?
We're not going to know the answer to this one for at least a year or two, is what I'm saying, unless tragic for you, Dak and Rush goes down and Trey gets thrown to the wolves, and maybe that's what has to happen. Is maybe he's got to. I mean, for one, he's got to get reps.
Yes.
I don't think he's really ever got to get used to the NFL speed.
No, he definitely hasn't had enough time.
Yeah.
I think going to the Niners was one of the worst places he could have went with the experience that he had. It was a tough division. They don't have an offensive line. They got no one to throw the ball to except for one guy if he can stay healthy. If you're not counting Kittle, even he gets hurt once or twice a year.
Yeah.
It's no one really to check down to. It is just a bad spot. And for them to trade up for him to get him at number 3 was nuts.
Yeah. That was I questioned that move when they made it. And yeah, that's gonna be one that John Lynch is gonna have hanging over his head for quite a while.
For sure.
So anyway, enough of that Cowboy stuff. We'll get back to them in a little bit. I got to talk about my Pittsburgh Steelers and what they have done in these last 2 preseason games. Buffalo, they played Buffalo's starters and dominated them. 1s versus 1s. Pittsburgh, again, we're talking basically about a quarter. But you could not have asked for a more perfect script for how that went. They get the ball. Jaylen Warren takes it 63 yards on great blocking. Hats off to Dan Moore, who, after they drafted Broderick Jones, has not relinquished that left tackle spot as of yet. I think he took that as a challenge, and I'm a little surprised. Granted, let's wait and see what happens when we get in the regular season. Not that Broderick Jones hasn't done well when he's in there. He has absolutely done well, but big props to Dan Moore for stepping up his game. Then we get The big punt return from Calvin Austin, who I said last week I think
Yeah.
was going to be a big
He's
bright
going to
spot
be a
for us.
stud.
And the pass that Pickett throws to Freiermuth, I mean, we're talking right between two all-pro safeties for Buffalo. Perfect. And then Atlanta, yeah, they didn't play against Atlanta starters, but they did exactly what you're supposed to do when your starters are playing against backups, and that is just right down their throat and put up 17 points with the ones. Well, I think Mitch actually got the field goal, but Kenny Pickett has been on the field for 5 offensive drives and has produced 5 offensive touchdowns.
Right.
As much as I have shouted for Matt Canada's head, uh, you know what can I say right now? Maybe uh, he's opened it up a little bit, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'll just put it that way. George Pickens continues to just do George Pickens things. Um, I dude, I'm so fucking excited, man. I realize that the AFC is brutal, but uh,
It's a
this off
tough
season,
conference.
this off season and preseason could not have gone any better. As far as I'm concerned, we get out of camp 100% healthy, with the exception of, like, I think Cam Hayward and Nick Herbig are kind of day to day type deal, but they're going to be fine for the season opener against San Francisco. Um, I'm excited, man. We made. Have you guys made any cuts yet?
A couple to the practice squad, but other than that, I haven't seen any major cuts.
Major, yeah. Well, the deadline is Tuesday, so I don't think we'll see really any big names until then. Pittsburgh, I think, cut 8 players, and none of them really saw significant time. The one I'm hoping to see and looking forward to seeing is Kendrick Green. Um, and if anybody local ends up watching this, they know I have not been a fan of Kendrick Green. He went to Peoria High School.
Right.
Um, and then, of course, Illinois. He has been just an absolute waste. I mean, he was only a third rounder, so there's that. But he's just undersized. He's not there, and I'm so sick of seeing all these local people on my Facebook bragging him up like he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Like, no, we don't fucking claim that guy.
Right.
Uh, so he's got to go, and they've actually moved him around. He's played some guard and some center. He's had a couple bad snaps, and I just think it's time to end that experiment. I think the only thing move wise, transaction wise, that could be a surprise for Pittsburgh is they might still be in the market for another corner. The top 3 being Levi Wallace, Patrick Peterson, and Joey Porter Jr. They're solid. I think if somebody comes open that can fit into their system, I think they won't hesitate to go and get one. The depth, like, we have depth that we haven't had in previous years all across the board. I would say corner is probably the weakest position that we have as far as depth, but everywhere else in past years, we didn't have depth. TJ Watt goes down, huge decline.
Right.
We got 2 guys right now, Nick Herbig, who has been just unbelievable in the preseason, and the other guy, Marcus Golden, also been very solid, to where I'm not going to absolutely lose my shit if TJ were to go down. I think that those guys, they're not going to be TJ Watt. Let's be honest, who the fuck is? But
Right.
I think they can at least come in and produce. Same thing with the defensive line. The young guys like DeMarvin Leal and Montravius Adams, who is a bubble guy. Keanu Benton, the rookie. I gotta stop. I'm gonna get too excited here. So I'm fucking pumped, man. Absolutely pumped. For the Cowboy people, what's getting you giddy?
Man, I'm excited to see the defense work. 2 years in a row with lead takeaways. I want to make it a third. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better secondary on paper. It's just, you got Stephon Gilmore, Trayvon Diggs, J-Ron Curse, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, and then depth behind it. It's just, it's gonna be gross for offenses. It really is. It's gonna be hard to throw the ball.
Depth is a great fucking problem to have, man.
It is, and our defensive line depth is there. I was just reading an article here. They have enough depth with defensive line that they could potentially make some season, mid-season trades to fill any gaps that we find.
Gotcha.
You got Odigizua that we picked up a year or two ago, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler Jr., you got Chauncey Golston. Then, of course, you got D-Law, Sam Williams, Jonathan Hankins. Well, I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 spots, and we got 3 people deep, and 2 spots we got 4 people deep. We got depth is definitely a good problem that we have.
Yeah.
Our question mark is the offensive line and Dak Prescott. It scares the living crap out of me.
I'm still. I was watching Pat McAfee the other day, and they had Greeny on, and he brought up a pretty good point, and I believe this was tied to the whole Jonathan Taylor thing, which we'll get to. But he brought up a good point about Tony Pollard, about how now that Zeke is gone, is he capable of being the workhorse? Because I don't know. I kind of agree with Greeny. I think Tony Pollard's wheelhouse is in that 15 touch area.
Yeah, he's definitely not a 30+ touch back for sure.
Yeah.
Now if they can work him into the passing game and get Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn in to run and get looks on the passing game as well, I mean, you could have a 3-headed snake here for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. Is one of those guys has to step into that role to take.
And they're going to be fresh if they use them correctly. You have 4 guys here in the backfield that could play 20, 30 snaps a game each and not be tired at all.
Right. Yeah. I
mean, they're not worth.
Think that's going to be your key.
Yeah, they're not going to be worth the crap in fantasy, in my opinion. If you play fantasy football out there, I see Tony Pollard going in the first round on all my fantasy drafts, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm getting Derrick Henry in the second round. I mean, it's just
steal.
He's the number one. He's the only guy who can run the rock in Tennessee. And he's going second round. You're getting Tony Pollard, who's got at least 2 guys behind him that's going to be sharing reps.
Mm-hmm.
These NFL teams that run these 2-3 running back,
which is most of
groups,
them these days.
which is almost all of them.
Yeah,
and you get a couple that are okay, J.K. Dobbins, guys that can run in a committee and be fine as fantasy guys, but I don't think Pollard's it. And by all means, anybody in my fantasy league, go ahead, take Pollard. I don't want it. You go ahead.
I joined, by the way. I don't know if you noticed.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
I'm going to get you into mine too, because I do definitely have one slot that I know of.
Perfect.
Speaking of running backs, I saw, I think it was this morning, Kenyon Drake got released.
Yes, I saw that.
I don't even remember who released him, but he could be an interesting pickup for a team that needs that backup, change of pace type guy.
He can't. He's one of them mid-range backs that can do a little bit for you. I definitely wouldn't put my whole season on his back, but he's moved around a couple times and he's been reliable. When he's healthy, when he was in Miami, he missed a whole season and a half or something like that.
Yeah. I think if a team has a slot for him in that 10 to 15 touch area, I think he could help a team out. Granted, I don't know what he did, at the camp that he was at. Maybe he's hit that running back wall that we so often see. But
Right.
at the very least, I think a team will kick the tires on it and see. Obviously, there's going to be guys that go down. So I'm sure that he won't be unemployed for very long.
He was released by the Colts.
Colts, that's odd.
Which is very odd because JT's not signed yet. Well, he's not their guy yet. I mean, he's going to be forced to be their guy, or he's just going to get traded.
We might as well talk about
sit.
that. What are your thoughts on that? I saw that you posted the link. I didn't know that he had an offer from the Dolphins.
They had an offer from the Dolphins, but it didn't involve a first rounder, I believe.
And that's where it's going to get tricky because I think Irsay is not going to budge unless he gets a 1.
He's not. He's already said that he wants a first round pick or equivalent to trade JT. So he's looking for a 3 down back starter, 1-for-1 type of thing, trade, or a first round pick and a third or something like that.
So not only does JT got to find a team willing to give up a first or a stud running back, he's got to find a team that is willing to rework his deal, because that's the whole reasoning behind this. Because he's not going to, he's not just going to take an even up trade and go play for the $4 million. At least I would think. And man, like, McAfee always mentions, like, why would you do this at a time when we literally changed everything? We brought in a whole new coaching staff, brand new quarterback who in limited action looks pretty solid. I got a chance to watch a little bit more of his play, and I'm standing by what I said on the last show that we did. I think come 3-4 years down the road, we're going to look back at this draft and say that motherfucker was the best quarterback in the NFL draft. I think he's going to be a stud. I really do. If he stays healthy.
And he might.
A big question.
He really might. I mean, I haven't seen superstar stats out of him so far in the preseason, but of course, you're not going to get that in preseason. So I think on our week 4 episode, ask me again.
Oh shit, my fucking hold on a second. My earbuds just died, so I gotta shift gears here. All right, let's do this here.
I want to find that article. I laughed because there's a kicker or a punter on the Colts who just got signed to a 4-year deal worth more than what JT's making this year.
Oh wow. I'm sure that hurts the old pride. I don't think I blame him there. I'd be pretty pissed myself. I'm kind of surprised that a team like Buffalo isn't going all in on that.
On JT?
Yeah.
They'd win the AFC nod, in my opinion. And that would be a team that he would be happy to go to.
Yeah, I think it was Dan Graziano said that you put him on the Bills, just put them in the Super Bowl right now.
Right. Or there's also talks here. Somebody predicts, trade rumors, 5 potential proposals for the Colts running back, and it's the 3rd or 4th one down is the Eagles. The Eagles will get JT. The Colts will get a 2nd rounder, Rashad Penny, and Quez Watkins, wide receiver from the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know that Irsay would go for that though.
He wouldn't. Now, if they did Rashad Penny and a 1st,
yeah,
or a 1st and a 1st and a comp pick or some cash, something like that. But could you imagine JT on the Eagles?
Yeah, if I'm the Eagles, I absolutely give up a first round pick. Are you kidding? I
Yep.
mean, look, they are already one of, if not the best team in the NFC, in my opinion.
Right.
Uh,
I know there's
the
lots of
best
great
you
landing
could
spots.
argue is maybe their number 3, but I for my money, I think they're the best overall team in the NFC this year. There's no way in hell I would not give up a first round pick because chances are that first round pick is going to be a late pick anyway.
Right.
You know, I would
Oh,
be blowing
especially
Irsay's phone up right now.
yeah, if you're the Bills or the Eagles or um, even the Vikings,
Yeah, Vikings are definitely
um,
in the market. I mean, we're talking about a
the Niners.
generational. Niners are they got
Oh,
Mac
sorry, they
though.
got McCaffrey. That's
Yeah,
I forgot about McCaffrey. How did I forget about McCaffrey? He's a god.
yeah. When healthy,
Right.
that's the
Denver.
knock on Denver is another one that I think is going to take the leap.
But and the Dolphins, I mean, the Dolphins is their number one running back's like 31 years old.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again,
So,
Dolphins made that
yeah,
offer. I'm surprised that they didn't
yeah.
up it up. You know, like I said, if
I
I'm a
would be
team
interested to see
looking,
what the offer was.
if I'm a
Um,
team that you know we're in the discussion of being a potential playoff team, and your weakness, your one glaring weakness, is that you don't have a stud running back. Why would you not give up a first?
right,
And I think he would sign with a team, you know, in a sign and trade or whatever, first round pick. I think you could probably get him for 1 or 2 years in the $8 to $10 million range. And in this, you know, today's NFL, you can pretty much rework your contracts however you want. So even
right,
if a team doesn't necessarily have the cap space, you can make the cap space if you really,
absolutely.
really want to make it happen.
Yep.
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
look what Lamar did. He called his mom and got paid.
yeah, yeah. It'll be an interesting week, or actually the next few days, because I think if anything is going to happen, well, didn't he give him till Tuesday? I think Ursay said you got until Tuesday to
I
find a deal.
I believe
Otherwise,
that.
you're just
I
here.
know they gave him permission.
I think they gave him a
Um,
deadline, and I think it's basically probably the same thing, cut down day, because they got roster decisions to make too, and you know they're going to have to leave a roster spot open for him or for a potential replacement. So I could see that would be, you know, the uh,
who's their who's their backup?
running back.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not even sure. Well, they had Naeem Hines, but he got hurt, and I think he might be gone for the year. They got Evan Hull, who's a
Zach
rookie.
Moss,
Yeah, Zach Moss, Deion
Jake Clark.
Jackson.
They got nobody. They got
Yeah,
young guys.
yeah. If looking at who they currently have right now, I would say that they're looking at Deion Jackson and Zach Moss being their two workhorse guys. And
Yeah.
yeah, and nobody else. So I see why Ursay is saying we want, you know, a 1-for-1. I don't blame him, but and then they cut Kenyon Drake. So look, you're starving for running backs and you just cut one. That could tell
Well,
us everything we need to know about Kenyon Drake.
or it could tell us that they have an offer on the table
Yeah.
that they're
Yeah.
considering.
Yeah, that's definitely, and they're going to wait till official business tomorrow
Yeah,
rather than, you
Monday
know,
morning, right?
yeah. Interesting. All right, well, let's see. I'm sure we'll talk some more about some other teams while we do this next thing here. Let's just go ahead and talk about our predictions, and then with those predictions, we'll get into the other stuff that we have here on the old document. I am going to go ahead and let you lead off with your uh, let's do your NFC predictions first. and then
Okay.
I'll do mine. Then we'll do the AFC. Just go all the way up to your NFC champion, and then I'll do my NFC champion. Then AFC and go from there.
All right. Well, I'm bold. I see things a little different than others. I don't stick with the norm. I think the Eagles are a great team. I really do.
Oh, wait a minute. We have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Somebody just posted on our YouTube. Kevin Dotson, who was the starting guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has been traded to the Rams, is what I'm seeing.
Really?
Yeah, you go ahead and continue on with yours. I'm gonna look this up right quick and see what I find.
I must not have spelled his name right because that is not the dot. That is not him. Anyway, for my NFC division winners, I've got the 49ers taking the West. I have, here we go. So, West, I got the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel. That defense looked great in preseason. They look tough. They're fast. They just look really good. I think the 49ers in that division, because everybody else I think is going to be terrible, with the Rams and the Seahawks battling for a mediocre second place. I think Arizona is probably going to be the number one overall pick in 2024's draft. But we'll see. But I'm going with Niners there. The South, I'm going out on a limb. No more TB12. You've got some rookie quarterbacks.
Not.
You got some rookie quarterbacks in there. I'm going Saints.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to give it to the Bucks.
Oh, God, no. Baker Mayfield couldn't lead himself out of a wet paper bag. I do not like Baker at all. I think he's an okay quarterback.
To be fair, he's got some dogs at receiver.
He does. But there's a Q by all of them if you look at your fantasy stats.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Mike Evans never gets old. I mean, to me, he feels like he's been in the league 30 years.
Right.
But yeah, he's got guys to throw the ball to, so we'll see. But I don't see him leading them past to a division championship.
Right.
They could surprise me and sneak in as a wild card, but I don't think so. I think the Saints are going to take it. You got Derek Carr, Michael Thomas is healthy, Olave. Once Alvin Kamara gets off his 3-game suspension, they've got the weapons to do it.
Yeah. So far, I'll jump in here. So far, we are both in agreement on the division winners. I also have the 49ers and I also have the Saints, basically for the same reasons that you have there.
Yeah.
I think Brock Purdy is going to take a step back this year because there's tape on him now.
Right.
Not that I don't think he's trash. I think he's proven that he's a solid NFL quarterback. I just don't think it's going to be quite the show that it was last year, but that team built around him is phenomenal. And even if he does regress, there's enough talent there. If they get Joey Bosa signed, or not Joey, Nick. Wait, which one do they have?
They want both of them.
They got Nick.
They got Nick, and there was talks earlier in the season of Joey signing there.
Oh wow!
Because he really wants to play with his brother.
There's no way they can afford that. No chance.
No, but if they could,
yeah, it's a pipe dream for sure. But I can't imagine it. They can't make one Bosa happy right now, let alone two.
Yeah, but what if the Bosas get together and say, "Hey, let's take a pay cut to play together"?
Yeah, I mean, but
the Watts did it.
Well, Derek, but that's JJ didn't.
No.
Derek's not, ain't like he's commanding 20 million per like his two brothers. The way
Yeah.
the both of them are going to be in. I got to think
Hall of Fame.
30. Well, that too, but they're going to be asking for like 30 mil a piece. So, but yeah, go ahead with your next NFC. Right now, we're both in agreement.
So my next NFC leader, I think the Lions are going to take the North.
3 for 3.
They're gonna sneak past the Vikings by a game or so to take the North. I think the Bears are going to be okay. Maybe 9-8 ish
For the Bears.
Yep. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, it potentially. I mean, that division is going to beat up on each other a lot.
It is, but I think the Packers are going to be last place. I don't believe the hype and love. He's had a couple good throws.
He's looked solid.
He's looked okay, but that Detroit defense.
I think they're ready to take the next step. I really do.
I don't have any faith in Green Bay's offensive line. Aaron Jones is getting older. Green Bay's got Dobbs and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Did they? Oh, they just got Dobbs from Cleveland, correct?
No, he was there last year.
Oh, I'm thinking of Josh Dobbs.
So I think the Lions are going to take it. I think Packers are going to be at the bottom finally, where they belong. And it's going to be between Chicago and Minnesota for second place, somewhere around that 9-10 game win. I think Lions are going to go 11-6.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs went to the Cardinals in a trade. It's who I was thinking of. I agree with that pick. I also have the Lions winning that division. I think, much like you, I think that division is going to be very tight. I think the Lions and the Vikings are probably going to come down to the last game or two of the season. Right. And then I think that Chicago, I still think Green Bay is going to be a little bit better than Chicago, but I wouldn't be shocked. I think they'll both be in the 7-9 win range. And you could convince me either way as far as who's going to finish third or fourth.
Yeah, and it all depends on them swing games too. I mean, there's games there they beat themselves. There's games in there where there's no way they can win and they can sneak out a win.
Right.
If the Bears can win a couple of them hard games, they could very well be in contention. I mean, they've got DJ Moore. You got Fields. It's not a bad team, but I think the Lions are much better.
Yeah, I agree. I can now confirm the report that we got that Kevin Dotson has in fact been traded from the Steelers to the Rams, and I'm liking it. The Rams get Kevin Dotson and next year's 5th round pick and 2025's 6th round pick from the Steelers. The Steelers get next year's 4th round pick from the Rams and 2025's 5th round pick. So I'm happy with that deal. And what it tells me is that they really like what they're seeing out of both. Well, Isaac Simalu has just been a monster. I think James Daniels, who we got from the Bears last year, will now. Well, I think he was already starting right guard. Dotson, yeah. So we've already got our solid. We got Nick Herbig, who can back up both sides. So that's a great move for the Steelers, as far as I'm concerned.
It gives an opportunity to get some younger guys in there next year.
Yep. So all right, back to the predictions. We are NFC East.
We're in the East. We're in my division. And if you want to cheat, look at the doc. You can see who wins it. But I think the Eagles and the Cowboys And now, without pulling up the schedule, but I'm pretty sure they play the last week against the Eagles again. Let me see here. Week 17. No, we got the Commanders on week 18. So week 14 against the Eagles is going to be the deciding game. And I'm going to hold out hope. My loyalty is going to prevail. And Dallas is going to win the division week 14 or week 18 with a win at Washington and a loss by Philly somehow, some way, and take the division. With that being said, my 3 wild cards are the.
Hold on before we go there.
Sure.
My NFC East pick, and I agree. I think it's going to come down to the wire, but I got the Eagles.
Yep. And you can flip a coin for me. Only reason I'm going with my boys because, like I've said, it's our year, man. It's always our year.
Right.
It's got to be our year. I mean, McCarthy's on the chopping block. Dak's on the chopping block. You got guys that are leaving because they're not getting paid. You got guys that we gotta get a Super Bowl. We have to. It's been too long. Jerry's not going to die without another one, and we all need that to happen, or him to retire, or something.
So to sum up our division picks for the NFC, we agree on the Lions, the 49ers, and the Saints. And Bubba is picking the Cowboys to win the NFC East. I'm picking the Eagles. Bubba, who are your 3 wild card teams?
I've got the Eagles, obviously. I've got the Vikings coming out of the North. And then my surprise team is the Falcons.
Oh, wow.
They added 2 key defensive linemen to beef up that defense, in Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree. And then they also picked up Jesse Bates and Jeff Okudah in the secondary.
Yeah.
They needed defensive help. They got it. If the offense can come together,
that's the big question mark, is Desmond Ridder.
I really think they, on paper, they have the people to make a run at the wild card. If you look at everybody else, the only other team in there, in my opinion, that could fight for it would be the Vikings. Sorry.
Which you had them.
Yeah, which I already have them, sorry. Would be the Giants, depending on how the East goes. We had those 3 got in the playoffs last year. If the Giants stay where they're at, they could make. But I don't see anybody else in the South and nobody in the West. I think they're prime and ready for a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I would be excited. I would be excited to see the Dirty Bird back in the playoffs. I really would.
My wild card teams, again, we agree on the Vikings. On the other side of the coin, I am putting the Cowboys in there, and I am taking the Giants. I think they have improved enough, and picking up Isaiah Simmons from the Cardinals, I think, is really going to help their defense. Again, that division is going to beat up on them. I see them in maybe the 9 to 10 win range, but looking at the NFC as a whole, I think that's going to be enough to get a team like the Giants in.
Right.
So,
yeah. And again, you could almost flip a coin. I mean, I don't see the NFC East putting 3 teams in the playoffs again. That's why I went with the Falcons. I mean, you got Kyle Pitts, Drake London. If that offense can go, they got Cordell Patterson as a running back this year. Bijan Robinson.
Mm-hmm. The pieces are there. It's just they're
There's
very young, and can they put it together?
there's no reason they can't.
Yeah. If Bud Dupree, who didn't have very much success in Tennessee, but he was really kind of playing out of his natural position. If the
Right.
Falcons can get a little bit of his fire back, yeah, I can't argue with that. I think Atlanta is on paper going to be a much improved team if Desmond Ridder is ready to make that jump.
Right.
So that being said,
Because you don't have anybody else.
give me your yeah, no, you're right. The NFC, once you get past those 7, 8 teams, the other half is not really worth a look.
Nope.
Who's your NFC champion?
My NFC champion. Oh, I went with the Niners. I think they're going to surprise some people. I think they're going to stay healthy. I hate saying it as a Cowboy fan, we don't root for the Niners, but it's hard to. I mean, I can't go Cowboys. I think on paper they got it too,
Yeah.
but Purdy proved himself last year. That defense again. Defense wins championships, like everybody says, and their defense is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't see with the teams I picked in the NFC playoffs. There's only 2 teams that even have a chance to beat the Niners, and that's the Eagles and the Cowboys. And I think the Niners are better than the Eagles on paper. I think they're faster at the point of attack. I went bold. I went against because last year I had Eagles and Bills. Eagles were really good. They're still really good. I don't see them going. I just don't see them doing it again. I don't. It's very rare for a team to go twice, 3 times, 4 times in a row.
Right.
We're not talking about the Patriots and Tom Brady. We're talking about the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, who, if he gets hurt, their season's over.
Yeah. Well, my NFC pick is the Eagles. I don't see where they got worse.
No.
A lot of it, Jalen had an MVP caliber season. And I think if he doesn't get hurt, I think he does win the MVP last year. Obviously, that's going to be a big what if can he stay healthy playing the style that he plays?
Right.
But I think that they're coming in hungry. I like what what the hell is their coach's name? Sirianni.
Yep.
I like Sirianni. I think that they are going to come in hungry, and that's my pick for the NFC.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. It really isn't.
Nope. Moving over to the AFC. Who do you have in the AFC East?
My AFC East pick is the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
They are too good. They're even without JT. If JT was to go there, they're a shoe in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just. But you got that Dalton Kincaid, the new tight end. You paid Dalton. You paid Knox. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Josh Allen. Your offensive line is fine. Your defense is good. There's no, barring a complete and utter act of God and just shocking all season by the Jets, it's the Bills to lose.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I am going to go with those Jets. After watching Buffalo against Pittsburgh, and then I went back and watched a little of their other preseason game, they don't look sharp. And it almost seems to me like they might have missed their window. I could see there's questions on, is Stephon Diggs truly happy there? And are they going to make it through the season without him just causing a ruckus. My big concern with the Jets was their offensive line.
Yep.
After watching that game, I believe it was yesterday, Aaron only got pressured one time in his 8 dropbacks, so maybe things are coming together for him. And I think that Buffalo is going to fall back to the pack a little bit, and the Jets are. I think it's going to come down to the wire. We're talking week 16, 17, 18 type shit. But I think the Jets are going to squeak that one out.
You got the Jets coming from a 7-10 season last year and taking the division over a team that went 13-3.
Yeah, but the Jets added a lot of key pieces that I could see the Jets pulling 13 wins here. I really could.
I can see the Jets pulling 10 or 11 and hitting a wild card. I think it's the Bills to lose. Even if Diggs ain't happy, they're going to make him happy. And McDermott's not going to let them go 13-3 down to 10-6.
Yeah,
or 10.
I am going to put a disclaimer on my pick of the Jets. If, as you said, Buffalo does get JT, switch the pick.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree that if they get JT, they're at the very least, and they're healthy. Of course, that we can't predict that shit. But if they get JT, yes, then I agree with you.
Yeah,
all right.
If they pick up John Taylor, they're in the AFC Championship game for sure.
AFC South.
This one, where's my notes here? There it was. I'm going to go with the Titans.
Wow.
I think Jacksonville slips a little bit by a game, and Titans pick it up. They added DeAndre Hopkins. You've already got Derrick Henry. Tannehill throwing the rock.
Do you think Tannehill makes it all year?
He has to for this to work.
Yeah.
For me to be right, he's got to.
Yeah, Malik Willis still doesn't look ready, and Will Levis is still, we haven't really seen much of him as of yet. So,
but man, he looks good. He looks really good. Will Levis.
Has he played much in the preseason? I honestly have not followed a whole lot of.
He played.
I know Malik Willis played like basically the whole game the other night after Tannehill handed the ball off 3 times.
Right. I think he played a series. I'd have to go back and look, but I think the Titans have the weapons to do it. It's a kind of a weak division compared to the rest. You got the Colts, who are a big question mark right now with their offense. Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence. You do got Doug Peterson at the helm there, so a Super Bowl winning coach. They got a chance they could repeat as division champions too.
Yeah,
I think I would like to see the Titans overcome their mediocrity and get themselves in the playoffs once again.
Yeah, and for reasons you just listed, that's why we disagree, and I am taking the Jags. I think they took big steps last year, and I think it's only going to get better with this season. Calvin Ridley has looked great in his limited action. That's going to be another weapon for Trevor Lawrence. You got Doug Peterson, who, like I said, Super Bowl winning coach, brings a pedigree there. I'm not sold on Tennessee's defense. So for that reason, I'm going with Jacksonville.
Yep. In other words, that's why these predictions are so hard to do.
Oh, I know it.
When you got these teams that if they lose a game, they shouldn't have won, or if they win a game, they shouldn't have won.
Hey, I would like to shamefully remind you and everybody else that in this segment last year, I picked the fucking Chiefs to finish last in their division. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of the AFC West, let's have it.
Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs.
And we agree
Yeah.
on that one. I'll just end the suspense right there.
Yeah, it's not even a question. I mean, the Chargers could battle for it, maybe, but I still think they're going to fall short of a division championship.
And last but not least, and I'll let you lead off on this one, the AFC North, for my money, the best division in football.
If they could somehow move the Browns out of the North and put any other team that's somewhat in the North in the AFC, it would be the best. It would be the best. But every group of friends has that one black sheep, and that's your Cleveland Browns.
Oh yeah.
I do not think the Bengals repeat as division champs. There's been a team that's had some off-season moves. They had a couple of big name additions, and I think that their way overpaid quarterback is going to take them to a division champion. I'm going with the Ravens.
You're fired. All right.
I don't think Kenny Pickett's better than Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry.
No, not yet. He's not. No. But my pick for the AFC North is no surprise. The fucking Pittsburgh Steelers are going to shock the world, and not because they're so much better, but I see the Bengals. You have that gut feeling. I think Joe's calf might be worse than they're saying.
That's exactly why I dropped him down.
The Bengals are going to be right there. I believe that, no question. And I think that the Ravens are going to be right there as well. But looking at what Pittsburgh did and what they've done in the preseason, I just think that their defense is going to be elite. And I think that is going to be the difference. I don't think Kenny Pickett is the next coming, but I think Kenny Pickett is good enough with the weapons that they have put around him. If Matt Canada can stay out of his own way, if they can score 20 to 25 a game with that defense, with a healthy TJ Watt, a healthy Highsmith, Cam Hayward, I think they're going to squeak the division out. I really do. I wouldn't be a Steelers fan if I didn't. I agree. It's going to be tough. And I as much as I like to joke about how bad Cleveland is, I still think they're going to be good enough to be competitive in just about every game they play.
I mean, look at their depth chart.
Yeah, their defense is great. They got
Amari
probably
Cooper,
the best running back.
Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. I mean, they got it.
But like Steeler fans always like to say, Brown's going to brown, and something is going to get fucked up in Cleveland, whether it's an injury or Deshaun Watson whips his wang out again. Something is going to happen. The Browns, in my opinion, are going to still remain where they firmly have belonged for a very, very long time, and that's in the AFC North's fucking basement.
Right.
I see Pittsburgh win the division with 12 wins, somehow getting the tiebreaker over Cincinnati, and I think that Baltimore is going to be right there with 10 or 11. Now,
it's interesting. I mean, I don't know.
Honestly,
I don't see Pittsburgh getting much better, maybe a game better. Going 10-7. I see Cincinnati going 10-7 or 11-6. But the Ravens just added some weapons. They just added Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive line.
I haven't seen much out of him in the last few years.
He hasn't been what he was hyped up to be out of college. He was
early.
Yeah, he's had good seasons. He's had good games.
Look, he couldn't be a star with fucking Myles Garrett on the other side.
No.
I can't see him really. He's going to be solid. Don't get me wrong. He's better than a lot of the bums that they could throw in there. But Jadeveon Clowney doesn't strike fear into my heart.
No, he improves the end though. He improves that defensive line.
And they did need help. I mean, without question.
And if you're looking at a team that is ready to win now. They paid people to win now. They brought in guys to win now. It's the Ravens.
Yeah. Their offensive line is mid at best, but they do have weapons. And again, I think it's going to be a slugfest between those three teams. Just, I wouldn't be a Steeler fan if I didn't fucking go with my gut.
Sure.
Who
And
are
that's
your
another reason
wild cards?
and that's why I went with the Cowboys in my division, because I wouldn't be a Cowboys fan if I didn't take them to win the division, even if it's by a half a game or a tiebreaker or whatever the hell they're going to get in. They're going to get in and they're going to get beat, and they're going to win 2 playoff games to improve from our normal 1 playoff win or 0, and we're going to have a healthy, happy season. And I'm going to go on with my life as a disappointed Cowboys fan and no more Super Bowl rings.
Who are your wild card teams?
In the NFC, I've got my Eagles, the Vikings, and the Falcons.
We already did the NFC.
Well, why am I looking at that? Jesus. It's been a long week.
Right.
Anyway, AFC. I got the Jets. They've added too many pieces not to try to make a run for it. I think they're going to make a run for it. Aaron Rodgers doesn't really know how to lose. He definitely doesn't know how to quit. He's got Garrett Wilson, Randall Cobb, Lazard, Dalvin Cook. I mean, he's got the pieces. He's got it there. The offensive line, if they can keep him upright, they're going to be scary.
Yeah.
I think the Bengals, again, are going to drop a game or two to the Ravens. And they're going to be right there. And the only other relevant team in the AFC that hasn't won a division, in my opinion, is the Chargers.
Yeah.
They went 10-7. I think they're going to go 10-7 again. Win a playoff game, maybe get, but I got the Jets, the Bengals, and the Chargers.
All right. I have the Bengals for all of the reasons that we've just discussed. On the other side of your Jets coin, I have the Bills. And my equal to your Atlanta Falcons pick is the Denver Broncos. I think that Sean Payton is going to right the ship there because they do have a lot of talent. I'm a little concerned now that we just heard about Jerry Jeudy going down for multiple weeks. But their young running back is back and healthy now, and I think Sean Payton is going to get them in the right direction to get them into that 10-win range. I think the Chargers are going to drop off a little bit for the simple fact that I don't trust their coach. He has made some really boneheaded fucking moves over the last couple of years, and after building a 27-0 lead over Jacksonville in the playoffs last year, only to watch it turn into the greatest comeback in NFL history.
Right.
I think that they are going to suffer from that hangover and regress probably in the 8-win range, and enough for Denver to step up and take that last wild card spot. Who do you have for your AFC champion?
My AFC champion, I'm riding the train all the way out of your division. Ravens all the way to the Super Bowl, buddy.
God. Oh.
And when it happens, you're going to buy me a drink.
I'll take that bet. I will absolutely take that bet. Oh.
What about you? Who you got coming out of the AFC? If you say the Steelers, I'm turning it off.
I have in the AFC, I believe that the New York Jets are going to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs are going to repeat once again as AFC champs. Rodgers,
Mahomes, AFC, huh?
Yeah, Andy Reid. I mean, they've got some young guys there, but the key components. I'm a little concerned about the holdout of oh God, what is this? The defensive end who is
he said week 8.
Yeah, it was
week 8.
Yeah, damn near could have been Super Bowl MVP, but
Yeah.
look,
Should have been defense. Should have been Super Bowl MVP.
yeah, I did the Chiefs dirty last year, so maybe part of this is a little, apology, but I
Apology.
got the Chiefs coming out. So, your picks are the Baltimore Ravens taking on the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what
Yep.
you said? Yeah. And mine are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles in a rematch. Who you got winning it all? I'm going to fucking throw up, I think.
Well, you might as well get your bucket out
Oh,
because I can't give the 49ers a victory as a Cowboys fan and with a Brock Purdy, it'll be a stretch if he even makes it. It really does. It really will. They would have to stay completely healthy, and Shanahan would have to be perfect for them to make the Super Bowl. I'm betting that they're going to stay healthy, and I'm going out on a limb just because I don't want to put my Cowboys in there because I got the Niners beating the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game. I go back a little nostalgia. Let's get back in the mid '90s, back here for our NFC Championship game. But I think I don't think the Cowboys are ready yet. They have to be if you're on the Cowboys. If you are employed by the Cowboys, you damn well bet your ass you're going to be in the Super Bowl.
yeah.
I just don't see it. I see them winning a couple games as division leaders. They don't have to play that extra game. I see them in the NFC title game, getting beat by the Niners, unfortunately, just because I think they're a little better team. The defense is better than our offensive line. And I have the Ravens by 10, 31-21 over the Niners.
Wow. Need a minute. My Super Bowl, obviously, it's a rematch of last year. I got the Eagles and the Chiefs, and I think fly, Eagles, fly. I think they are going to get over the hump while the Chiefs are, without question in that dynasty mode. I just think that they're going to figure them out this time, and they were close last year. They basically had the game won until Mahomes happened. I think a few plays are going to go the other way, and I got the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. But as a little preview of what we're probably going to do later this week or for the next show, bold prediction, and we may have to type this on the document and save it for a year, a year and a half. Next season, you heard it here first. The Pittsburgh Steelers win the Super Bowl next year. This is a team that is going to be really good this year, but I think in their minds they are building for year 3 for Kenny Pickett. So I'm calling my shot right now. I think Pittsburgh is going to make some noise, but they're going to take that leap next year. So, and we're going to save this shit. I'm going to push it all down to the bottom of the document so that we can review and see how fucking wrong one or both of us are as we go along.
I think you're wrong. I think you're about 4 years ahead of yourself.
Nah, man, the NFL, man, your windows with free agency and everything, your windows don't stay open very long. Unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, our window is fucking always open. Here's a stat that you may not have known. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have not had a pick in the top 5 since, take a guess.
Oh, boy.
Guess the year that the last time they picked in the top 5.
2009.
You're close, but not really. 1970 was the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers picked in the top 5. 1970, and that was actually number 1, Terry Bradshaw. Winningest team in the NFL since the merger of regular season. And playoffs, I think they're still number 2 behind New England. But yeah, so we're always in the conversation. But I think next year is
Yeah,
going to be the big one that they go all in. All right, so we're going to save all these picks, and I'm sure we'll review them as the season goes on. Don't shake your fucking head at me.
I can't help it.
So I gave you homework, and you couldn't do it because you don't have Netflix. We're gonna have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give you my password. Something. Johnny Football.
Yeah, what a mess.
Right, like all this time, we were led to believe by his then best friend, who they had a falling out, that the reason that he was able to live that lavish lifestyle was because he came from grandpa's oil money, when it
Right.
actually turns out that he was just cashing in on signings,
Autographs.
private signings in
Yep.
hotels when they traveled, and that's kind of mind-blowing
Right.
watching that. And like, it almost makes you mad to see a guy like that who had just unbelievable talent,
Oh, he was amazing.
and to outside of the off the field to just not fucking care. And after watching that doc, if I'm a member of the Cleveland Browns when he was there, I'm probably going to his house to punch him in the face.
Sure.
Never watched any game film when he got to the pros. You can obviously, because he did it, you can slide by that shit in college.
Right.
But when you get to the NFL, to not, and in this day and age, it reminds me of the old oh God, what was the quarterback that the Raiders drafted, that Russell, Jamarcus
Yep.
Russell.
Marcus Russell.
Do you know the story behind Jamarcus Russell?
He got too fat.
Well, there's that, but
I don't know that. I don't.
they sent him home with a blank tape.
Oh, I heard this. Yep.
Yeah, and asked him to watch film, and then when he come in, so what did you see on film? He's like, oh, I learned about these coverages, blah blah blah, and it was blank. So they knew that he didn't fucking watch it.
Right.
And now here's Johnny Manziel. Literally, I don't know if you saw it on the what you watched, but in the doc they ask him, how much tape did you watch, and he did this, just
Yep.
zero.
None.
Like I said, if I'm on that team and I'm finding that out, I'm mad.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and then it gets dark to where, when he just wanted the hell out of Cleveland and literally put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger.
Yep.
But the gun didn't fire. Now, not that I want to make light of it or anything. That could just be, pity me. Yeah, I did it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, I part of me feels bad for him, but the other part of me is like, you dumb fuck. You had
Right.
the world in your
You
hand.
had it all.
Yeah. You literally
Yeah,
could have, you know.
And the documentary I watched, it was like a 45-minute thing on YouTube, and it was a pretty good. I'll send you the link. He admitted, and you got to give the guy credit. I didn't want to work.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the work no more. College was, I did my thing. I went from nobody to somebody overnight in that win over Alabama. And he didn't want to put in the work that it took to be the caliber of quarterback that he was drafted as in the NFL.
Right.
He wanted to party. He had, he was one of them want to take the easy road. They're going to give me $30,000 to sign, a bunch of autographs in a hotel room, and I got $12.95 in my account.
Right.
He goes, "Fuck yeah, I'm going to do it. Where at?
Right.
Let's go."
It almost makes you wonder if Johnny Football were to come along now, and who knows, we might see this again with Arch Manning or Caleb Williams. Well, I guess Caleb's going to be gone, but now with the colleges and the NILs and everything, you can make millions of dollars.
Sure.
And for that reason, I don't necessarily fault Johnny for what he did, because
he wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
They're making millions off of me.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
can't I get some of that?
And they talked about that, like, because he was a nobody from nowhere. He
Right.
was a freshman that comes in and just sets the state of Texas and eventually
Right. Well, he
the
broke his
nation.
own yard record, what, 3 times in the same season?
Yeah. And for them, they start selling all this merch and they're making money hand over fist. And
Yep.
he's basically living off of his scholarship per diem. So I don't
Right.
blame him at all for that.
No.
But the fact that, you could have had so much more if you would have just put a little bit of effort into it.
Yep.
But instead, he wanted to do rails off of strippers' asses. And, hey, I can relate. But
Yeah.
it's the Florida thing.
That's one I didn't get to watch that one, and I searched and searched and searched and tried to find something to watch. I mean, I watched about 15 minutes of a couple here and there that weren't exactly what I was looking for as far as the behind the scenes stuff that might have been in that untold stuff.
Yeah, it's
Obviously,
4
we all know.
episodes.
I mean, we all know who was on that team. I mean, it was one of the best, if not the best, college football team ever.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as NFL talent,
They without question should have won 3 national championships.
Yeah.
And, to see Urban Meyer, I put a lot of the blame on Urban Meyer because you thought Johnny Manziel was a partier. Other than Tim Tebow, that whole team, literally, that's all they did was fucking.
Oh, yeah. All they did.
And
that's what got Aaron Hernandez in trouble.
Yeah, you had Hernandez, you had Chris Rainey, Tebow, the Pouncey brothers, Brandon Spikes, Brian Spiller. Like, there's no reason that team shouldn't have won. And it got to the point where when Tebow, I believe it was his junior year when he came back, Tebow mania got so big that the resentment is literally what kind of drove a wedge in that team and
Right.
caused it all to kind of just go to shit. It's a pretty good doc. I think they probably could have wrapped it up quicker than 4 episodes. It was interesting to see because basically it started with Tebow's recruitment and how he would come in and spot duty for Chris Leak.
Right.
And then Leak obviously goes away, and then Urban Meyer was able to put in his offense, and then they bring in guys like Percy Harvin was another big name. Dallas Clark, not Dallas Clark, Dallas Cooper maybe. Can't remember. It was a guy named Dallas, but it was a wide receiver who never really did much in the NFL, but was a stud for Florida. And as a Gator fan, like I remember watching that team back then and just couldn't believe that they could even lose to the teams that they lost to. They lost to Auburn 2 years in a row, and then they lost to Mississippi State the year that they should have won the Natty. And then they finally go undefeated, and Alabama just absolutely boat raced them in the SEC title game.
Right.
It was like 41-14, something like that. Just goes to show you get one over on Nick Saban once. After that,
you don't do it
probably
again.
your ass.
But yeah, I mean the roster, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Chris Rainey, Emmanuel Moody, Percy Harvin, Riley Cooper, Deontay Thompson, Aaron Hernandez, Marquise Pouncey. The defense.
Mike Pouncey was also there.
Yep. Yeah.
Major Wright was a big hard-hitting safety that they had. Joe Hayden was their corner. Obviously, Brandon Spikes. I was shocked when I found that Brandon Spikes only played in the NFL 6 years. For some reason, I was thinking he was there a lot longer, but maybe I'm probably combining him and Takeo Spikes.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell how long he went. I mean, I know the names.
Right.
I haven't followed. I've only been on college football for probably the last 5 or 6 years or so. But I'm going to age a little bit. But I was just out of high school. I was my first couple of years in the service.
All right.
When this was all going on, so I had a lot of other things to worry about. But it was everywhere in the news. I mean, It was everywhere.
Yeah, they were fucking awesome. Cam Newton, he was there, but I don't think he played much at all and saw the writing on the wall, and that was when he transferred to Auburn.
Yeah. He was a sophomore in 08.
Yeah.
But you had, oh God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 25 players on that roster in 2008 went to the NFL.
That's incredible. Yeah, they were fucking studs.
Right.
I mean, they joked. One of them said in the doc that I think we could have beat some NFL teams. No, you couldn't have, but I don't think you would have get absolutely destroyed. But yeah, they were, for my money, as a team, even though they didn't produce what they should have produced on the field, you could argue that they were one of the greatest teams ever assembled, without question.
Oh, easily one of the best teams. Yeah. I mean, there's no question about that.
All right, so just looking over our notes, I think we pretty much covered everything there for the most part.
Dallas Baker was a receiver.
Baker, that's his name. Yeah, Dallas Baker.
Yeah, he was a senior in 06.
Yeah, I think he was a senior the year that Leak was still there.
Yep. Leak and him were seniors together.
Yeah, and then they brought in a couple of the younger guys, and they were all still awesome. Percy Harvin,
Tebow was a freshman. Yeah, that's when Percy Harvin was a freshman. Yeah.
Yeah, just top to bottom. Great fucking team. So, all right. Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything for now. What we will do the next time we are here, we will put on at least one show, if not one or two, is give you our picks from week to week. I'm going to probably cut this up and actually throw clips up. Last one was kind of pretty fluid and there wasn't really any good break points, but I think I can do that with this one. So yeah, we'll give you our week 1 picks. We'll probably dive a little bit more into college football. I am going to have my cousin on here who's a big Michigan fan and a huge college football guy, and we'll do some of that. Probably go over what we're about to see with some baseball. Do they have a decent team this year, Illinois?
No. Do they ever?
Good point. I mean, last year they were solid.
I mean, they're okay. They're not going to make a run for nothing. I just hope for a decent bowl game, get some money to the school, hopefully get some local talent, maybe some them pipeline guys from Florida and places like Texas, place like that to, come play for Bellamy.
Is the quarterback back?
No. What's his name? He ran out of eligibility.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They made, I can never remember his name.
Where's the Big Ten? There it is. God, what was his name? Tommy DeVito, wasn't it?
He was last year. Yeah. He's playing for the
Somebody
Bills?
got him. Yeah. I remember seeing his name. It might be the Bills.
But Luke Altmaier, the transfer from Ole Miss, was named the starting quarterback.
Okay, sophomore out of Starkville.
Yeah, he transferred last season. Middle to end-ish, 3/4 way through the season. Mm-hmm. They named him a starter. So
gotcha.
We'll see.
Yeah,
he comes from a good school.
Yeah, the SEC. I mean, it's a different animal when you get to the Big Ten. You don't have Alabama and LSU and all those guys breathing down your neck. You got obviously a couple heavy hitters with Ohio State and Michigan, but after that, there's a huge drop off. So
right, I mean, he's got an overall rating of 108.4. He's 28 for 54, 317 yards and 3 touchdowns in, looks like if you were put together maybe a whole season.
Oh, right on.
So,
all right. Well, I think that is going to wrap it up for this one. We will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. If you're watching this on one of the Facebook pages, please go to the YouTube, which you can see scrolling across the bottom there. It is youtube.com/EldonzoDeez, and subscribe there. Got all kinds of stuff there if you're into the political shit, but we're also going to have all of our sports stuff as well for you. That being said, we will see you guys next time. Thanks, Bubba J.
Thank you.
See ya. And we're clear. I don't know what the fuck happened to my earbuds. They just I charged them earlier and they just flat out fucking died on me.
I didn't even put mine in this time.
Oh, this fucking thing's still going live.
I raw dogged it.
Oh, you just went straight audio?